Hello, it's Film Frenzy, and today I'll be reviewing the soon-to-be-released Russian-American submarine war thriller, Hunter Killer. So I just got back from seeing Hunter Killer at a GoFilm early screening. It comes out this Friday. I saw it today, which is a Wednesday for reference, and I was super excited. Packed theater, and I was just really amped up to this review. I've seen that it's gotten some bad reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, currently seen at 38%, with not many reviews in so far, so it's probably going to drop. And I was very apprehensive about it. But I just came in with a unbiased blank slate, and here are my opinions, starting with my first category, direction and visuals. So this is a movie that I think if you want to see it, you should see it in a theater, because there's some awesome just like sensory feelings with the submarines passing by and the torpedoes. There's some awesome shots with that. The underwater shots are amazing, and you feel the vibrations in the theater, and I think that was super cool. It felt like you were part of the movie, almost like an experience more than just a film. That's really cool, and there's some great war shots with both the submarines, and I thought also with the commandos like on land. There were some awesome shots. They were really done well. I was really impressed with the war scenes, to be honest. Occasionally they'd be a little like just too much shaky cam, and you couldn't tell what was going on, but usually it was very good. And then getting back to that shaky cam, in the scenes that take place at the Pentagon, I thought like sometimes they use the shaky cam. I don't know why. I think it was maybe because they want to keep with like the boat feel and the tense intensity and stuff. But it didn't really fit. Like with the briefing with the president, that scene, it was like all shaky and it was just a mess. There was another scene where it was just circling around Common and Gary Oldman discussing, and I thought like that was just really poorly shot. It was just dizzying. There's some other dizzying shots on the boat also, and I think that's a big problem. Like when camera work is off, that can really hurt your film. So for direction and visuals category, I'll be giving it Hunter Killer a 3.5 out of 5. Yes, there's some positives in terms of the sensory feel and the whole like war scenes and just the grand scale, like those big shots of the submarines and the battleships. Those were awesome. There's some very tense moments, but it also suffers from some poor camera work more often than I would like to happen. Next up, it's time to talk about acting and character development. This is an interesting category because for this film, I think the acting was pretty good. There weren't any like bad performances per se. I think Gerard Butler, he's given too much hate. He's not a bad actor at all. Maybe he just doesn't pick the best projects, or maybe he just doesn't have that much range. For this part, I thought he was fine. He did a decent job. It wasn't anything remarkable, but he was good. Gary Oldman, I'm not sure why he was in this movie, because he's coming off of a Best Actor win for The Darkest Hour. And then he does this movie. He's not even a big part in it, even though he's on the movie poster. And I thought he was good in it and all, but like, I don't even know why he did it. Like, his character was very one-dimensional. I think that's reflected in like pretty much all the characters. They try to make some depth with Gerard Butler's character and how he's like not an Annapolis guy and he doesn't play by the books and whatnot, but it just feels very cliche and stuff. And when they're trying to not be one-dimensional, it just becomes even more one-dimensional. That's a problem. I thought the main villain was just ram power-hungry Russian, very generic. I thought all of the people, even when they were trying to add depth with like some of the Russian generals, like I said before, it backfires and you're just left with cliches in the character development. There's not really like much like change in any of the characters over the course of the movie, which is also bad. And then there's just some like generic like just by the book type of army guys that are like trying to like play against and juxtapose against Gerard Butler. They're very just like one note. I already mentioned Gary Oldman's very one note and how he's just a war hungry kind of like general, very just generic. Common is just, I don't even know. I can't really describe his character much. It was very just boring. He did a fine job. The acting was not bad at all. It was good, but all the characters were some had a little bit of depth, but it made it cliche. So either depth but cliche, or just no depth at all and just completely one-dimensional. So that leads to a 2.5 out of 5 for this category, saved by solid performances, but there's really no character development, unfortunately. My final and favorite category are the story elements, plot, pacing, script, and theme. You know why this is my favorite category? Because I think narrative is the most important aspect of the film. Sadly, Hunter Killer doesn't fare too well here. So let's break it down, piece by piece. Plot. So when I first read this premise, I thought it was kind of interesting. I was like, you don't really see much war movies that are about preventing war. And I like that because, well, wars should be prevented because, you know, you don't want people to die. That sucks, obviously. So I was intrigued, and then I read about how it's about the military is trying to kidnap and save the Russian president from like a coup that's happening. I thought that was interesting, but sadly the movie did not do much with that. I wanted like an interesting political like thriller type film with like a really interesting like coup and like political intrigue and stuff. Kind of like Captain America Winter Soldier, which is an amazing movie, one of my favorites. Anyway, that was not the case. So it was very just one-dimensional. I already mentioned the one-dimensional villain, and that was kind of the case with the coup in general. It was just very basic, and the plot, I thought it didn't really expand. It was just a bunch of back and forths with like who shot who and figuring it out and stuff. And it really wasn't that interesting. Yes, it was an exciting movie, which goes into pacing. I thought the pacing was excellent. I've read a lot of reviews saying the pacing is great, and that is completely true. It is an interesting movie. I thought it was pretty entertaining. It keeps you on the edge of your seat most of the time because it's just a fast-paced movie. It never lets up, which is very impressive, I have to admit. But the plot is very weak. Plus, there are a bunch of plot holes that I'm not going to spoil, but they had me scratching my head and asking, did I miss something? But no, I did not miss something. The movie missed something. Anyway, so I covered plot and pacing. Now next, we got script. So this is a rough one. There's not really many great lines, or really any great lines at all in this movie. There's some mediocre ones, like basic ones. There's a lot of that like common like ship talking with the submarine and stuff. That's generic, so that's fine, I guess. And then like the main like lines, I feel like there's a lot of cheesy ones. Like when they were going at the theme, which I'll talk about later, I felt like it was nice and all, but it was just lacked nuance completely. It was very basic and cheesy, and it felt like it was just kind of like made from like the 80s or something. Like it didn't like feel modern at all, and how it's not very complex. I already mentioned like with character development how everything's one-dimensional, and the script is kind of like that too, with some lines that actually had me kind of laughing at them. That's never good. You never want your movie to be like that. And I thought that was a big problem. So the script was kind of rough. Sure, there were some decent moments here and there, but lots of the time when they're trying to go for big, powerful, dramatic moments, it didn't really pan out at all, and just had me kind of laughing. Finally, theme. So there is a very present theme here. It's a kind of a generic one because it's in so many war movies, but it's about the individual mattering, how every person matters, and how the war is really just fought between the governments, but the individual people in the war on both sides aren't bad, and they're kind of like brethren almost. I thought that was great. I mean, it's in a lot of war movies, but it's nice, and I thought they addressed the theme very well, although they kind of hit too hard on it a little bit, like with the cheesy lines and all. It was nice, but it was a little cliche, nevertheless. I still appreciate the theme, and I love the pacing, though the script and the plot definitely faltered. So that leads to this category also receiving a 2.5 out of 5, kind of on the weekend. Now that leads to my overall score. So these three categories are not weighted equally. If that was the case, the score would be a little different than what I'm about to give. So what I'm going to give is a 2.5 out of 5. So, is that a thumbs up or a thumbs down? I'm going to have to be mean on this one and give it a thumbs down. I'm sorry, but I did enjoy this movie, but I just can't give it a thumbs up in my right mind. It is not a good movie whatsoever. Lack of character development, just lack of good characters, period. Lack of a solid, expandable plot. Terrible script overall. There is some good pacing, a decent theme, some great visuals, although some poor camera work. Overall, it kind of balances out, but it's just a very uneven movie. Some great moments, some bad moments overall. So I have to weigh it down a little bit and give it a 2.5 out of 5 thumbs down. What did you think of Hunter Killer? Please comment down below and make sure to like and subscribe to Film Frenzy for more awesome movie reviews and rankings and other movie related videos coming soon and already posted on my channel. So see you guys later from Film Frenzy. Thanks for watching. Bye.